Hi, my name is Hat here. I'm bringing you Season 2, Week 3 of the GBA. This is against P0KEM3N, or John. He's a really good friend of mine. If you're not subscribed to him already, go check him out. He's a fantastic battler, great uploader. He's a pretty funny guy. But this match is just incredible. I know I said last week that it was a great match, but this match takes the cake. The New Orleans Pelippers, their team is so hard to play around just because of what they not only did bring this time, but what they have the potential to bring. And to try to find and crack that code of what really gets a foothold, it's hard to do. So we're going to jump into this battle. John's going to issue that challenge, looking all snazzy in the blue. I'm going to go with an Infernape that I have not brought in either Season 1 or Season 2. This is a little different than your standard lead ape. This is just a bandit ape, and I end up winning the speed tie and getting a critical hit on turn 1. And so this whole match, John told me after that he thought I was scarfed the whole time, and that actually really threw him off. And I sat for a while in game time, and I figured the bug buzz might be obvious, but at the same time, is he really able to risk going for bug buzz on Infernape? And so he might just get the sticky web. I was not expecting the volt switch at all, but I figured it's worth the risk, and I'm going to go into Espeon. And so he goes into his Azumarill on my Psychic, which normally was just to kind of kill it off. But I figured I have to attack it, because if he goes for the belly drum, it's game over if I don't attack it, regardless if I set up the reflect or not. But this pressed a huge issue for me, because Espeon did a lot to John's team with Terrakion and Conkeldurr, so losing it was a big gamble I had to take, but I didn't feel comfortable not taking that risk. I'm expecting he switched in fearing the Thunder Wave. I figured Nidoking actually was going to come in expecting the Volt Switch, so I went with my Grass Knot using this bulky Thunders. I just love this thing so much more than regular standard Thunders. It's just so good. But I'm just going to Volt Switch out of there. I'm going to pick up the KO on Galvantula, which is great, because now that I don't have my Magic Bouncer, I didn't bring my Spinner, I don't have to worry about Sticky Web with Galvantula being gone, and that's a huge issue, Sticky Web for my team. And so I just standard double down rules. Double down, go to your lead or go to a Scarfer. And I like this matchup a lot because I can get off a good U-turn on this thing. And Deoxys defense is pretty bulky, but jeez, does that do a lot. And yeah, it's only maybe 35%, but I wasn't expecting that much. But I'm a big fan of the damage, so I'm going to go into Thundurus. And my thought is, depending on what he wants to do, I can either T-Wave, I can go for a Volt Switch, or maybe I can just hit it hard with a Thunderbolt. But as you see, he just goes for the knockoff, so I felt pretty confident staying in here. And I'm going to go for the Thunderbolt this time. I know I thought about Grass Knot a little bit, but I figured he wouldn't make that play 2 plays in a row expecting the Grass Knot. So I felt pretty safe. He does make the nice prediction and goes into Nidoking. And I sat here for a long while and I had to figure out what kind of Nidoking this was. And it appeared at the time the best idea just to sack off Thundurus to see if it was physical or not. Because if it was a physical Nidoking, it didn't matter. If it was a special one, I lost it and I was going to be in a lot of trouble. Luckily, though, Bandit Infernape just comes through. Flare Blitz, it just demolishes that thing. And that was a huge threat of John's out of the way just instantly. Yeah, it got a good kill, but it got killed right back. So again, I kind of thought, I was like, maybe he's going to, set up the belly drum, but I was like, he can't really afford that if I'm not banded or not choiced and have, say, Thunder Punch and maybe I'm Expert Belt or something. So I just kind of go into Hippowdon. I figure I'll get the sand up, and that way it'll start doing chip damage, and maybe I can live 2 hits. I highly doubted it, but I figured, hey, if I can live 2 hits for whatever reason, maybe he went for the Aqua Jet or something, a missed play rough, whatever it may be, I could possibly get off a Yawn or even late game Stealth Rock. Actually, no, I lied. I don't have Stealth Rock on this Hippowdon. But I figured the yawn would be good, but it at least gives me chip damage on this Azumarill to help me bring it down, because this thing is scary, especially without Thundurus around, because I do not have Thunder Punch on my Infernape. So I get this matchup, and I figure this is going to be great. And my plan was just kind of to see what he wanted to do and just chip away again and just keep going. But he switches into Deoxys Defense, which I think that was a huge mistake, because this Clefable ends up really hurting John. And I was happy with that damage, surprisingly, for being Clefable and how bulky Deoxys Defense is. I'm running a Leftovers Clefable in this match and not a Life Orb Clefable. I'm a little more defensive in this match, but I'm going to go into Garchomp. And I decided to bring defensive Garchomp this game mainly because of Talonflame, which John didn't even bring. My main thought process is when I played the Orlando Milotics last year against a team very similar to this, and just looking at the team, speed was not the issue for me. It was really Terrakion was my main issue, was its speed. And I had ways to take care of that, or at least I saw better ways to take care of it. So I figured Garchomp would be better suited as more of a physically bulky defensive wall. I get the useless crit. And I'm real glad I went with the bulky Garchomp this game. It really saved me in my opinion. But he's going to go back into Conkeldurr. I figured the knockoff has already happened to my Garchomp, so he's not going to knock off again. Ice Punch is way too obvious, and Ice Punch needs to happen for him to start getting momentum back in his way. So even though I'm especially defensive Clefable, I figured I can take this Ice Punch relatively well. And because I have soft-boiled, I'm going to be able to eventually win this war of attrition, provided he doesn't get a freeze on me. And so I didn't actually think I was going to be faster. After now watching this back, it makes sense that I'm a little faster because of how slow Conkeldurr is. But I soft-boiled kind of, just to get that HP back, see what he wants to do. Maybe he had Poison Jab, which I thought about, as a way to kind of counter Clefable. But he doesn't have it. Ice Punch is his best way to go about it because Drain Punch and Mach Punch aren't going to do anything. And Knockoff, even though it's resisted, it's not worth it for the little damage. Even though it would get rid of my leftovers, I still have the soft boiled and I'm faster, so I'm going to be able to keep getting HP back. Like I said, unless he does get that freeze. But he's gonna just keep Ice Punching. I'm not sure if he was fishing for it. Maybe, I'm assuming he wasn't anything other than Assault Vest Conkeldurr, but on the off chance that he was maybe banned for whatever reason, I don't know. I would have switched out if this was in my shoes, just to see if Conkeldurr could have been of use later, because he basically wasted Conkeldurr to only get what 50%, a little more or a little less done to Clefable, and I think that really hurt him. But he's going to go back into Azumarill. My whole point is just get as much damage on this thing as possible, because otherwise this thing is going to run through me. And I really liked that damage output. Even though Clefable is going to go down to this waterfall, I'm happy with what it is. And because I have Choice Banded Infernape and I'm faster with Mach Punch and how low it is, even though it's resisted, Iron Fist, Close Combat, it's going to take it out. Or not Close Combat, Iron Fist and Choice Band. The Mach Punch will take it out. And so Infernape netting himself another kill. And all that leaves him left with is Terrakion. And I know that even though Banded Mach Punch isn't going to kill, it's going to do a good amount of damage. And there's nothing he's going to want to be able to do back to defensive Garchomp that I have sitting in my back pocket. And because he goes for the Close Combat, he's going to lower his defense by at least one stage. And as we'll see on the next turn, I think he might have been Banded or Scarfed. But he goes for Close Combat again, making him -2 defense, and Garchomp just going to, come in and get the kill. Great game, John. Thunders are now 3-0, so you got to look forward to that. Thank you to Donkey Punch Jones, aka Swaglift, for recording this battle for me. Even though he is he's a bad person in the sense that he puts the milk in his cereal first. So if you're watching this far, go to Swaglift's channel and comment something on one of his videos saying how weird of a person he is for putting milk in his cereal first. But with that, if you guys are Thunder fans, thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next battle, Week 4. But feel free to tweet at me, ask me questions about the game, and I'll hopefully be able to answer any of those. But have a good one, guys, and thanks for watching. And real quick, guys, I just remembered we're playing the San Jose Sharpedos next week, so tweet at me and tweet at the Sharpedos Thunder Up. We're going to get in his head, and we're going to mess with Tom. So let's go. It'll be in the description.